chasing you guys in LA down? And
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously Salt Lake's a good team, and our games with them are always, always very competitive. They got us the last time at their place. We need to, get them again here at our place. But, we have to be ready. We got to work hard. They're a good team. Sabborio's back in the mix for them, so that makes it, more options up front. Plata will be back as well for them. So they've got 4 options up front as well, and Finley and Olmas Garcia and the new player Jaime. So, we'll have to see what they bring, but they're definitely a dangerous team up top.
Any difference in the guys out here after having a couple days off and kind of a stretch with only like 1 game instead of like 3 games?
No, today was good. I thought today was really good. Practice was really sharp. The guys were really after it. We actually cut the 11v11 short because they were so into it. I didn't want them to use up any more energy out there, at this time. And so for them, I thought it was a good practice. They were sharp, they were into it, they were having a lot of fun.
Salt Lake has been able to sustain that success for a couple years now, maybe with somewhat limited resources. What's some of the secrets behind what they've been able to do for so long here?
Yeah, I always have a problem when people talk about limited resources, okay, because everybody's salary cap is the same, okay, so now, you maybe have 3 players who you can go over the salary cap with. Well, they've got Morales, who they go over the salary cap with, and they have Sabborio, who they go over the salary cap with, and so then, that means they have other players that they can pay more for. So when you pay that one guy a lot of money, and he's at the max on your salary cap, well, that means maybe the other guy gets paid less. So you don't pay that one guy. Maybe you got 2 guys that are making, 200, 250. So, I think that, I don't buy this David and Goliath stuff. A lot of people want to do it, and they want to paint that picture. And for sure, yes, if you buy a guy like Defoe, or you buy a guy like Keane, or like we did with Dempsey, those guys are exceptional players. I'm not denying that either. But on the same token, they have a very good team. They have a very good nucleus. They've got a group of 6, 7 players that have been together now for 5, 6 years or longer, and they know each other. They know what they're capable of. They push each other. They have a tight knit locker room, which really helps them.
Kind of with your point then, rather than your premise, rather than Matt's then, doesn't it, in some ways, with everybody working sort of with similar resources, doesn't it say something for both you and LA and Salt Lake that y'all are able to avoid the dips, that y'all have been consistently?
Yeah, I think consistency is the important thing. I think Salt Lake makes good decisions, makes good player decisions. I think LA makes good player decisions, and I think we've made pretty good player decisions to maintain that consistency. And a lot of times, sometimes we talk about the depth, and I think when you look at all those teams, they all have players that come along. So you have a Luis Gill who's come along. You have a Luke Mulholland who's really come along for that team. You have a guy like Jesse Sardis at LA who's really come along. And you look at guys like on our team, like a Lamar Nagel, who came out of nowhere and scored a lot of goals for us, or DeAndre Yedlin. So I think what the teams that stay on the top consistently are able to do is they're able to replenish their talent level, and they're able to find new energy levels, because you always need, remember Alex Ferguson saying to me, you always need a couple of young guys, 2, 3 young guys to keep the spirit up, and keep the level of competition up, and I think that's what all those teams have been able to do.
With Salt Lake getting Sabborio back, what does he bring to their attack?
Well, he's different than any of the other forwards, because he's very, very good in the air. He's a calculated finisher. He's an underrated passer. He's simple. He's a guy who can play with his back to goal. He's a guy who can connect for their team. But mainly it's his prowess in the air. It makes him a different team on set pieces, because when you add Sabborio to Schuler and Borchers, there's some pretty big bodies that you got to worry about on set pieces.
Getting the 4-0 win the last time you guys played at CenturyLink, how do you guys kind of replicate that to get the same success?
Every game, I always say every game takes on its own life, its own story, but we want to play well. We want to make sure that we move the ball. We want to make sure we get into spaces, that they allow us to get into, and with them a lot of times it's wide spaces because they pack the middle a little bit, and then finish the chances we had. I thought our first 45 minutes against Chivas was very good on the road, so if we can replicate that, we'll be happy.
How much do you miss? Are you going to miss Marco Pappa? And have you had a chance to see his performances with Guatemala the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen one. I saw the one game completely, their second game, and I saw bits and pieces of their first game. And Kurt's actually following the tournament, so he's been to all the games live, and he'll be at the games tonight as well. You know, I think Marco's done well. You know, obviously right now we got to play without him, and I know for Guatemala it's a big tournament, because if they can finish first in their group and then win the championship game, then they automatically qualify for Copa America in 2016, which for them is important. And also want to send out good wishes to Carlos Ruiz. I'm amazed that Carlos is still playing. He'll know what I mean by that. But you know, he's done phenomenal. You know, for a guy who's, you know, Carlos now is a 35-year-old forward, and he keeps giving it, and, you know, keeps scoring goals for them. But him and Marco Pappa and Contreras have really been the three main guys for that Guatemalan team.
For your team here, I mean, you've had the week off, but now next week you have like basically 3 games in a week. How do you kind of balance all that together to keep them all?
You know, part of it was that we wanted to work hard in the early part when we came back. So, you know, Sunday, Monday, we put in a decent amount of work, and we wanted to taper it now going into this game, because we know beginning with this game we've got a long haul of games. So then we have to look at, you know, how we rotate the team. If we rotate the team, what kind of lineup we want to put out there in the Open Cup, and then really probably a lot more rotation when we go against New York, because then we'll be playing our third game in you know, in 8 days or something like that, and New York will be playing, I think, their second in 8 days. So that's the one that's more of a concern. Philly plays, we've got to see what kind of lineup they put out, but right now our attention, our focus is on Salt Lake, and our goal was to work a little bit, you know, and give them that little bit of a break, fill up the tank as much as possible so we can go on this next run.
Coming off of the break, how's everyone doing health-wise?
We're doing okay. Everybody's getting better. I mean, Tristan Bowen still not able to participate in full practice, but Jimmy went through possession with us today. We held him out of the 11v11, but I think he's at a stage where we feel you know, he could be available next week, you know, we're thinking. So outside of that, Remick has gone through full training. So I think we have pretty much everybody to pick from, with the exception of maybe Damian Lowe is still making up fitness deficits, and you know, and Kevin Parsimon. But outside of that, I think we pretty much have everybody.